So I used to host this show on E called Talk Soup, and we had a couple of shows that aired after my show. One of them was Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and one of them was Sealab 2021. And I was obsessed with fucking Sealab. I was obsessed with it. It was so insane. It was so insane and so stupid. I loved it so much. I felt crazy because I was like, this is, how are they getting away with this? Like, I get told all day long on my show, that's too far, you're going too far. And then they were just, a guy was fucking a mop head. And I was just like, why is the universe so unjust? I'm so angry. But I would just talk about it a lot. I would talk about it to the crew, and I would talk about it on the show. And then I got the script, the pilot script for Archer, codenamed Duchess. And I read it, and I was like, this show's never going to get made. I don't see it. I don't see it. I said, it's too funny, and it's too hardcore. It's too sophisticated. It's never, and this was like very much in the pure era of like likability. You have to be likable. It's got to be relatable. You know what I mean? We have to like you. And I was like, these people are deeply unlikable. This is never going to go. And it's way too smart, way too literate. Never going to go.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm going to get to go to Atlanta and meet the Sealab dudes. So I went to Atlanta, and Adam picked me up in his his Volkswagen Golf.
Jetta.
I don't remember what. Yeah, it was a Jetta. It was a Jetta. That's it. It was a Jetta. And I was like, Sealab 21 didn't pay that much, I see. No, that's not what I thought at all. That's not what I thought at all. I literally was like stealing nuts from the fucking airport lounge. I was not flush myself. But I loved it, and I went and I recorded the show, and it was at a very fancy recording facility. I remember that too, because there were like full-size candy bars in the snack area. I was very seduced by everything that happened on that trip. Adam was delightful. It was very, very funny. And I was very clear that the show was not going to get picked up. Like, I was just like, there's just no way. And then I remember when it got picked up, just being so delighted and thrilled. And again, not ever anticipating that the show would become what it was. And
we
again,
really got lucky.
We really did. It was alchemical, and I think that's the thing, that a lot of TV gets made, but not a lot of great TV gets made. And you can't, you have to, it's unbearably difficult, and I'm sure that, everybody here, and especially Casey and Christian, can testify, it's unbelievably difficult to make a TV show. I mean, it is relentlessly demanding. It's never done. It's just a pencils down, hands up situation where you've got to turn it in, but you're always like, I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
And then, everybody who you cast has to have something specific and ineffable that they bring to the table, and everybody has to get along, and you're constantly managing for crises and failure. And it's just the fact that this show made it for 15 seasons is like a Christmas motherfucking miracle.
Yeah. We got so lucky because I think we came along at exactly the right time for FX, and FX was like so perfectly a fit for us, which you wouldn't assume based on what
they were very
done.
much, I guess, well, I don't know though. I guess especially in the early days, maybe not now, they were very much a hands-off. They were like, we trust you. I mean, that's been their MO. Again, I just waited for Casey and Kristen to go, contraire, I beg to differ. But, philosophically, they believed in their artists, right? They hired people that were smart. They let them make their television, and they didn't interfere that much. And I have since developed something with them. And that was the experience that I had with them as well, is that versus other places, they try not to micromanage. And obviously the show would have wilted on the vine if it was micromanaged. I'm going to tell this story now because I don't work for E anymore, and I never will again. But, but when I was doing Talk Soup, when I took it over, it was very much a clip show, right? Like, you'd watch a funny clip and then you'd say something snarky. But I had a little bit of a background in improv, and the guys wanted to write more, so we started doing more sketches and bits and stuff. We would do produced bits, and it was great because we can only look at like somebody on Jerry Springer like trying to fling poop at another guy like so many times before it gets old. I mean, it takes a long time to get old, but eventually it does get old. And we did. This was right when Tickle Me Elmo came out.
Okay.
And we did a bit. It was genius, man. I apologize for nothing. We did a bit where Raggedy Ann was sitting on Tickle Me Elmo's face.
Yeah.
And she was just like, yeah, a little to the left, It's genius. It's a genius bit. It was very fucking funny. And then immediately after that, they just essentially just redlined every joke we wrote for the rest of the time that the show was on the air. And we did a joke about James Wood wearing a loincloth, and lawyers were like, well, is there evidence that he's ever worn a loincloth in real life? Do we have any photographs of this?
That's not how comedy works.
I mean, literally, comedic harikiri. And my point is that you can't micromanage comedy. It has to have this kind of alchemical, like, it has to expand to fill the space it's in. It's got to be jagged and asymmetrical. Things don't make sense. And if you have these guys that don't do comedy, don't understand comedy, being like, wait, what is this based on? What does this mean? How are these related? You're never, ever going to be able to get to the finish line. And what we had was just something very special from the very beginning, with guys who knew what they were doing and who were aggressive about doing it, to the point where everybody else around it was like, oh, okay, I don't know that I understand everything you're doing, but I do know that I need to just take, like, step away and let you do it. I mean, we went from being an office comedy to being like, you know, like a cocaine trucking convoy, to being in space, to being in some guy's head. What network would allow that? What other network would be like, no, you have to give the people what they want, what they've been getting for the last this many seasons. Like, you have to keep delivering that thing, which is why so much TV starts to just decay and, like, get bloated and then fall in on itself and die.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's sad that the show ended, but what shows get that many seasons? What, when, who?
Yeah.
Almost nobody.
I feel
almost
lucky
nobody.
that I got to work for Matt and Adam for so long. Like, it was just such a great job to have. Like,
Yeah.
And it's hard because you knew it was magic, right? So it's sad when it goes away.
Yeah.
But it also, you also forged in a specific kind of elven fire that will be with you for the rest of your life. Casey knows what I'm talking about. Casey knows what I'm talking about. That elven fire, man.
Hell yeah.
that's how you make
How do you get me thrilled, right? But,
Exactly.
I'll say that
Check it out.
when Disney took over, I was worried that the S&P would, standards and practices would, and it wasn't
Come for you.
It wasn't that bad. They usually never had content notes, but they had so many different S&P things and legal things that we had to clear. So by the end, the last season, there were font clearances that we had to do and map clearances. So if we ever showed a map, which in a spy show, you're showing a map a lot, we had to get the map cleared every single time. I don't know if this
reveal the secret lair of Mickey Mouse.
I don't know if this is true. This is just a rumor I heard, but it might be related to the Barbie movie, where they showed a kid's hand-drawn map that maybe mislabeled something in China, and that was a very big no-no for the Chinese. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard.
Wow.
It's again, I think it's always great to have the secondary conversation about, like, how will this be felt and seen. Comedy we do get so many we get a lot of dispensation, right? We have the parody, we have the kind of the parody clause, right? We're able to get away with a lot. And one thing I think that the show was deeply offensive, but it was deeply offensive to everybody, including its own characters. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It kind of. It never punched down. It punched laterally, right? Just like prolific punches in all lateral directions. But at that time, it was I think also people knew, like, we can't unbake this cake, right?
Yeah.
You can't come in season 8 and bake a fully baked cake.
Yeah. Nobody was safe.
Yeah, nobody was safe. I mean, robots were definitely not safe. Robots really took it in the ass on our show.
Well,
Literally.
With consent, with robot consent. I mean, we always asked beforehand, but, like, they really took it.
But they can't say no. We programmed them so they can.
Exactly.
That was the three-pronged prime directive of robots. That consent is just stipulated to at all times.
You get to make a choice. You can just never not say no.
Oh, can't wait for the robot lobby to write in.
Oh, boy. I'm Amber Nash, the voice of your favorite HR nightmare, Pam Poovey. We're doing an Archer Rewatch podcast because I don't have a job anymore. This season, each episode is hosted by me and a guest co-host from the main cast. We will be breaking down fan and cast favorite episodes out of order, so get used to it. Welcome to RePhrasing. I'm going to read the synopsis from the Archer Wiki. Thank you, whoever makes the Archer Wiki. I don't know. I wouldn't know anything about the show if it wasn't
There's
for the
an Archer Wiki.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would advise people to not dive too deep into the Archer dumb, because right under the very thin layer of respectable wikis is just an insane amount of fan porn. I mean, it's so much fan porn.
Yeah. I was
It's
really
so-
excited the first time I saw a fan.
Oh,
Pam fan porn.
God. I can never unsee any of it.
Yeah.
I definitely can't unhear it. It's rough, man. Woof.
Okay, here we go. Skytanic is the 7th episode of the first season of Archer. It originally aired on February 18th, 2010. When a bomb threat jeopardizes the maiden voyage of the luxury airship Excelsior, Archer and the ISIS crew must battle the clock and each other to avert disaster. This was before ISIS got taken away, when the sign got rolled out of the office.
But that was late, right? Was that like season 3 or 4? When was that?
I think so. Do you remember, Casey?
I don't remember what season
We shot
it
Chet in the
was.
foot. We shot Chet in the foot. It was I want to say 3.
I remember there
I'm
was
gonna-
a mandate that we just had to stop saying the name or showing it. But then it became a plot point at some point.
Yeah, there was, and I think that was an internal mandate because there was discussions on what we should do.
Right.
But in the end, and to Adam's credit, he was like, that's a real world thing that a lot of people are getting killed and dying.
Yeah, like why
So,
it's not the hill we
It's
want
not
to like.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think it was done. Oh, it must have been actually. It might have been season 6.
Did we go back to the office in season 6? That was, we came back from the field, from my favorite season in the field.
Because after season 5, then in season 6, remember they had to shack up into Cheryl's mansion, and they ran out of Cheryl's mansion.
It gets blown up.
Yeah.
The whole office gets blown up, and then they're not in it for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, just to tag your statement of like, this is a testament to Adam's like kind of like fluidity. I think a lot of showrunners and I think a lot of creatives, you fear dynamism, right? You're like, I have a vision for the show and it's my vision. And if it's challenged, you're challenging me. And, and the rigidity doesn't, maybe the rigidity is born out of fear. Like maybe this is the last best idea I'm ever going to have. But I think more than that, it's maybe based out of like a kind of ego that's like any challenge is a challenge to the whole thing. The fact that he was like, that ISIS is not the show. Like, that name is not the show, right? I mean, The Office is not the show. It's just these characters. They could be anywhere doing anything, and that's the show.
And if it is
it's
that
freeing.
important, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, if this is the last best idea you ever have, like, you need to go do some drugs over the weekend and, like, get your shit together. But, like,
Get some new ideas.
what was great was the show just got wilder and wilder in, like, these really delightful ways. And I'm not saying it originated out of the ISIS thing because we were already kind of like flying feet first, but it was exciting. Like every time we'd come back, we're like, what are we doing this season? Like, what's going to happen?
As a person who's had the honor to work for Matt and Adam for a while, seeing Adam start to riff on Adam's own ideas was like such a cool thing. Like seeing him go to Sealab and Space Lab and stuff that like we kind of could
it
only
was great to go
partially
back and
do
revisit
when
those
we were
things.
doing Sealab, and then to see him like, man, that was so fun.
I was very excited when we went back to, again, per my previous story about
right.
Sealab. I was very excited about
love
that.
that you're a Sealab fan. I had no idea.
Oh,
and
so
one
great.
of the things that I loved the most about doing Archer is in between seasons, when I don't know if this happened to you, Aisha, but I think it happened to the whole cast. Adam would call us before we started recording and being like, okay, here's the deal. This is what's going to happen with your character and what's going to happen with this season.
At the beginning of the season.
And it was like so exciting. It was like Christmas to get that call from Adam, and he would tell you what shit he'd cooked up and what we were about to do.
Yep.
So fun.
This is a downstream thing that happened, but when we did Dreamland, Matt called and he's like, so your character's going to be this torch singer, and can you sing? And I was like, well, actually, I do. I sing. Like I was in a band in college and stuff like that. He's like, okay, great, we'll have you sing. And then we recorded this episode. He's like, oh, you actually can sing. I was like, I said that to you, like, in no uncertain terms. He's like, yeah, we didn't believe you. We had hired, like, this other person that was going to come and do all the singing. We had them, like, on standby. And I was like, listen, I might be an asshole, but I don't think I've ever lied to you.
That's so funny.
But I get that, like, actors always say they could, like, ride a horse or drive a tractor or whatever, and they can't. Yeah. So.
Because that's what they had to do for Judy in season 5, because Judy can't sing, and so they hired another person to come in and do 2012.
But I don't think she said she could sing. I don't think she was like, absolutely, let me send you my demos. Like, she was like, I can't do it. I was like, I can do it. He was like, oh, wow, that was pretty good. I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
You really can.
It was genuine surprise. It was like he saw Bigfoot. He's like, wait a minute, what?
So good. So in this episode, we begin with the Excelsior commercial, which I had completely forgotten about and was so fantastic.
Great.
Casey, do you remember who did the voiceover for the commercial? It's so good. I mean, it sounds like it's from another time.
I don't. But we have so many great VO people that we could call upon, but
it felt really so good. Fallout to me. Like, I know that those things aren't related, but I was like, ooh, Fallout!
It totally does. And guys, nice, I have something to admit. And it's, okay, so I don't fully understand how airships work. And, like, are they inside the big part? Or are they just inside the clitoris that hangs off the underside?
People are just rattling around inside that big part.
The distended clitoris.
Where are they in there?
Breathing helium. Just inhaling copious amounts of pure helium as they go to dinner on the Lido deck.
So I'm guessing no. They're not rattling around in the big part.
They're in the dangling kind of like hyena-like,
just
like a
little clitoris
enlarged clitoris. Yeah.
You know, in Indiana Jones when Indiana Jones throws the Nazi out of the window of a wicked airship, that's happening in that little no ticket.
Oh, it just seems so like, I guess that's why, I mean, it seems very impractical to have.
I was literally about to say impractical.
Yes. To you.
Like 98% of the thing is the balloon, and then you ride in this little thing.
Okay.
Tiny. And I mean, if you look at like a regular blimp, it's enormous. And then for like one of the blimps that floats around like above a football game, it's like a tiny little like 4 cabin, right? It's just like the guy's driving it, and then maybe a third guy in case somebody has to poop, right? Like that's it. But there isn't anywhere to poop.
I really had no idea. Please erase this from the episode.
Please make this the beginning of the episode. I think what we learned is that human beings, some of our inventions hit, and some of them miss.
Right. Well, thank you for making a safe space for me to ask these questions.
Yes. Every invention can't be the smartphone.
Oh, God. Okay. Is this the first time, I keep asking this question, that we hear Lana, Danger Zone? Or has that happened before? Do we know?
That 3 Lana was, I don't know if it happens before this. This might be the first time for that.
I think that this is the first time. I think we've had he's planted Danger Zone earlier. He says you better call Kenny Loggins, right? I think that's like in somewhere between 3, 4, 5. But then I think this is the first time that he does it. And then after that, it's the first of 300,000 times people screaming at me when I'm in the Whole Foods.
That's what I was going to ask, because that is what people... They're hands down did the most to they're desperate. They can't wait to say it.
They don't know what to do with themselves, and they're kind of sidling up to you. So like if they're drunk, then they just do it. But then most of the time they're just like, so like yeah, so like how many times do people yell that at you? Like does it bother you? And I'm like, nah, it's cool because I love the show. And then they launch into it like immediately, like they were waiting.
I can't wait to yell at you.
Burning a hole in their face. They couldn't wait to get it out. Yeah, what? Yes, what? Okay, can you please ring me out? Please ring my groceries out. I have to go.
It's so funny. It reminds me of a story, Aisha, that it was at a Comic-Con, because that was how we would see each other most of the time. And I remember we were all meeting in the lobby of the main hotel where a lot of our panels would be.
Yeah.
And so there's tons of, con goers there, and it's a very packed lobby. And it was the first time that I saw you dealing with people, kind of descending on you. And I'd never known anybody that was famous before. And so kind of watching you navigate that, I was like, wow, that's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. But you do it so effortlessly and gracefully and beautifully. And people are just like, you've got huge fans that just love to be in your orbit,
Oh, that everything you just said was very nice and flattering. I feel like one thing like that I always loved about Comic-Con and that I continue to feel about fan interactions is like I was such a nerdy movie obsessed kid, and like the heartbreak of meeting somebody that you idolize and having them be shitty to you is just like so piercing. Like I felt it before and since, and so I just never want anybody to have that experience with me. Like I'm heartbroken. Like if I say to someone, oh, that so and so, how are they? I'm like, please don't tell me they're an asshole. Like I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And like then I met Clint Eastwood and he was so nice to me. I fucking swooned. I had a broken arm and I wasn't going to talk to him at all because I'm so terrified to talk to famous people. I'm still like 11-year-old me. I'm like they're not going to talk to me. They hate me. And I just was standing by him and he goes, oh, what happened to your bum wing? And I was like, So I just want to, you want to give people, especially at the con, you want to give them a good experience. Like we would do this thing every year where they take us onto the con floor and then we sign the posters for everybody, right? And we're all in a little row and you're just signing away and then John's drawing a dick on everybody's poster and then I don't know, some lucky draws semen coming out of it anyway. So but I would always ask people like, how is your con? And almost uniformly everyone's like, this is the greatest weekend of my life. Like I don't want to be the person to piss in that lemonade, you know what I mean? You want people to go home and be like, I met the people from Archer and they were awesome. And that's just it's human interaction is all we have. We're just little specks moving around on this big dumb ball. And if you can't give somebody that, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, unless you're, like in a Fast and Furious movie and then like, you're dead inside and we can't help you. But otherwise, you're a nice person. Be nice to people. It's nice.
Yes, that's right. One of the lines I wrote down that I thought was so funny and I'm sure I didn't even recognize it the first time is, yes, she literally vomited from anger.
And he says it in the most casual way, like that's even a possible thing that could happen, but it's so great.
It's so
Oh
funny.
my God. Jessica is such like an Upper East Side co-op resident in this episode. She's just such a prissy old lady. She's literally a lady who carries a pocketbook. Like not a purse, a pocketbook.
Yeah, because they're talking about how she took somebody else's reservation, right? And that's when he says,
got her bumped, right? Yeah, Trudy
Not-
Beekman,
oh,
her
not right.
mortal enemy.
Yeah.
Her
Right.
mortal enemy, Trudy
Beekman
Beekman.
subplot is so entertaining.
It's so good.
Again, it refers back to the episode with Calpurnia because I feel like we don't see Trudy in the Calpurnia episode, but we refer to her constantly because maybe there's like a noise complaint. And Trudy doesn't like that Mallory's having a dinner party. Like Trudy was just always, she was ever present.
Oh, wow.
And living in a building with a co-op, I understand because it's impossible if you live in a building with an HOA not to develop mortal enemies almost immediately.
Right.
Like it just. If you're in a house, you can avoid your neighbors like the plague. But if you're in an apartment building, like eventually you'll be like, I like that guy. I'm going to poison that guy to sleep someday. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Like it just happens so fast. There was a guy who lived in like my friend's building, and the whole building has dogs. But somehow this guy decided that whenever he heard a dog barking, it was this one person's dogs, even though the guy was like 2 floors up, and he would constantly text the guy, be like, shut your dogs up, and the dog would be like on the street, or it'd be like a dog on someone's television, and I was like, so how do we pipe carbon monoxide under this guy's door? Because he deserves it. Yes, communal living is a struggle. I understand Mallory's plight. It's difficult.
There's another line that I think Pam says, that you are just a dog in a manger, which I think is so funny and weird. And it's like, what is she even talking about? You're just a dog in a manger. I think she's talking to Cheryl. Such a weird line.
I don't remember it either. It was very elegant.
It's
Christian's like, I don't know.
You're like, back in the farm, the dog would always sleep.
Oh,
in the manger.
yeah.
That silly dog.
And he would nip at the toes of the sweet baby Jesus. Get that dog out of that manger.
Oh boy.
He's eating all the myrrh.
Wait, is a manger, guys, you're gonna find out how stupid I am on this episode. Is a manger a thing other than just what Jesus laid in?
Yeah,
Is it an
Jesus
actual
built
thing
it.
on a
Jesus
farm?
Famously, as a little baby carpenter, built the manger. And then he got into it.
This little
and
baby,
He didn't know.
that little plastic baby hammer.
Yeah, he did.
What is it?
It's the trough that they eat from is the manger, right?
What?
Your guess is as good as mine, bro.
No,
I thought
like-
it was just like the little cubby hole with the hay on the ground. That was the whole manger, right?
I think
Like-
the manger is so they were like in a barn.
Oh my God, you guys! Manger, manger,
Eat.
manger is the French.
There you
go.
Yeah, the French. Yeah.
It's all
Oh
Latin.
my God, you guys, we did it. We did it together.
Wow.
We did it as a team. I love it. I love it. Good job, everybody. Good job.
And that's why we eat the flesh of Jesus.
Yeah. With a little bit of myrrh sprinkled on top of it.
I mean, sliced thinly and dehydrated for crunch, but yes.
Oh, no.
And then washed down with wine because it's very dry. Very dry. Babies are very dry. They haven't developed any marbling yet. They're very
Yes.
dry.
Yes. No
Wagyu
marbling.
baby. Wagyu
He's not
savior.
all
Oh my
tracks
God.
with religion.
I'm glad this isn't my show. Don't write me any emails. This is on y'all.
I went to
Not my
I went to
podcast.
Catholic school. You're just talking about Catholicism.
that's the only religion I know anything about. So.
So a perfect segue is the line, "My vulva is smoother than a veal cutlet."
Veal cutlet. And then poor Cyril coming to the door and be like, I came to talk to you, and all you're in here talking about your vealy vulva.
It was such a good line.
I was
I
just saying,
remember-
these shows were classic lines in these episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember getting, and I'm sure that you got this a lot too, Aisha, like getting scripts and being like, are we gonna be able
we
to
gonna say this?
Even
Are we gonna say how we do it?
season after season, it got,
Every
you know,
season.
it's always like more and more and bigger and bigger
Every
and crazy.
season, every season, you're in there. You're like, okay, I guess we're gonna do it. I guess we're doing it. All right,
we
I
go.
guess we're gonna do it. Okay, all right. Every season, you sure? Okay. In season one, Adam and I had a very long conversation. It wasn't an argument. It was like a really exciting semantic discussion
Okay.
about whether torso or chest was a funnier word. And I just remember, like, I felt like I died and gone to heaven because this was just shit that only comedians care about.
Right.
And we were like, is it funnier that it starts with a consonant? Is the way you shape your torso? And we obviously torso is way funnier than chest.
Okay.
I mean, torso is like clearly by a factor of 10x a funnier word than chest. But that was like the most genteel conversation we ever had on the show. Mostly it was about like teabagging and you know, rusty trombones. Yeah.
Yeah, and not everybody knows this, but Adam directed all the episodes up until season 10. Is that right, Casey?
You mean directed the VO? Well, yeah,
Yeah, directed the VO.
He was involved in every aspect. So he was like writing them, directing the VO.
I don't feel like he was always. I don't feel like he was always on every session though.
No, and then he started to like, kind of in the middle of the second season. He's like, talk to me and Thompson. He's like, I got to give you some of this because I can't.
I'm dying.
Can't do it all.
Yeah. And we could talk about this. Maybe it would be a good one for Thompson, but it was the second cancer episode, and the Rampage episode, and that was one that he didn't do the edit on, and Thompson and I did it. And then FX was like, "This is our favorite episode yet," and we were like, "Yeah,
we did it." I always remember like going in because I was lucky enough to be actually in the room with you guys when we would record, so I would be there with Adam and Matt and you guys. And when I could get Adam to laugh, it was like, oh my God, it's not an easy thing to do. But when he would laugh, at first I was like, well, he's just laughing at his own writing. And then I was like, no, he's not. He's laughing at your performance. And it was so great to be able to get him to laugh. And it didn't happen a lot.
I feel so. I want to agree with you in the strongest of terms. And I remember like people would say like, what's the process? Because everybody does it differently. Like I know that like, actually I'm guessing, but I feel like maybe with Chris, like you would read back and forth with him, and also maybe with Jessica. I just wanted to say the lines. I would just say the line over and over again. And literally my whole process was I would say it until I heard somebody laugh. That was my whole goal, just to crack the guys up on the line, and then we would move on. Yeah, which is just harkening back to some deep psychological need I had as a child to crack people up.
I mean, that's why we're in comedy.
Right? Exactly. Just fill in that hole. Just fill in that hole. But yeah, just say it till the guys cracked up, and then that was that meant you could move on, which is great.
Yep.
So fun. Yeah.
Totally.
No consideration for what anybody else is doing on the show. I don't care if it matches. I don't care if this is what you wanted. I heard you laugh. Moving on.
I decide. Another great moment is when it's right after the vulva is smoother line, and Cyril asks if he interrupted something. And Archer says, rehearsal with your Commodore tribute band, which is so great because he's in that fucking costume.
That's when he's dressed up like he works on the rigid airship. Yes. Yeah. Yes, he had a really fine set of wardrobe changes on this episode, Cyril. Then he was in Mallory's like negligee and her slippers.
Oh, and her shoes, like the fact that her shoes fit him.
Yes, but I think they probably didn't. I think his heels were kind of hanging off the back, and he was kind of clomping down the hallway a little bit. But he was just so riddled with shame this whole episode. Like he didn't know who he was or what he was doing. He was just wandering around this, breathing helium as one does inside a rigid airship, and just careening from self-abuse to self-abuse, which was so. This is the episode that had my favorite line of the show. And whenever people would ask me, who's your favorite character on Archer, I would always say it was Pam. Like,
that's so sweet.
I mean, you're just an inordinately funny person, and everything about what you were able to do with her, the way that you grew her, she was just so intriguing, and she was such a fucking badass. She did not give a shit about anybody or anything, but at the same time was like deeply endearing. And you were such a creep this episode because you were just always watching people have sex. You're so inappropriate. And this is the beginning of the campaign to wear everybody down. I mentioned this video, and so Cyril is choking Cheryl on the bed, and he's going, what am I doing? What am I doing? And Mayo goes, ruining your life and making it really hard to drop a deuce. And I was just like, what? What is this? What is this show? It was so great. She's taking a shit and she's watching Cyril choke it. What is happening? Oh my God. For years I was like, that's the best couplet ever performed on television.
And if that happens to someone young enough, that's how serial killers are created.
That really is. And if only he had been like, in his teens, that would have been the beginning of the end. It was so funny. And he was just, there was something about Cyril, and he was so pathetic, but you did recognize a real person in him.
Yeah.
Which was just someone who was just buffeted about by other people's desires and couldn't control his own. Like, he couldn't control his behavior. He was so desperate to be loved, so desperate to belong, so desperate to feel like he had any control over his life that he was just constantly breaking everything he touched. And I think on the first watch, it was like, he's just a sad sack. But like watching him again, I'm like, this was a really insightful psychological profile of a specific kind of person who is just desperate for connection and overcranked in every way and just cannot connect with anybody ever. And that's why he becomes in season 5, that like despot, right? We may have seen a personality like this out in the real world. Someone who just is so desperate to be liked that they will force everyone to, into the shape of what they want them to be.
Yeah, I was talking to Kevin about this episode, and he was talking about Rick and Morty, and he's like, Chris Parnell is like our animated simp. He's like, he's the person we go to.
The ball gag. Ball gag guy.
He's so punchable, but then you feel bad about punching him.
Because you can see that specifically with him. Yeah, I recognize that guy. I recognize that personality. Like, he just slept with his coworker, and he's like, what's happening to me? I'm like, you're doing it yourself, bro. Nothing happened to you at all. Yeah, why does the world hate me as you're banging someone other than your girlfriend? Yeah.
They also like put things onto him that he didn't have, and then he just adopts it. So like, they accuse him in later seasons of being a serial masturbator, and then that was just a dodge and a joke, and then he basically becomes that. He takes it on so much that
he like admits it.
He like morphs into whatever he thinks people want him to be, or what and like, I mean, we've all like, I just know people that are like, they're like, I can't believe this happened to me. I'm like, dude, you did that. That is you. Like, you have your hand in the till at the corner store, and you're on the camera, and you're like, I can't believe the world is doing this to me. I don't deserve to go to jail. Bitch, your hands didn't register.
Yes. So true.
Yeah, so I recognized him very much.
There was another great moment in this episode that I wrote down because it was such a perfect Adam Reed moment where he makes a reference to something that everybody's got to go look up. And it was, guy sees an empty glass and suddenly he's Judge Crater. And I was like, who the fuck is Judge Crater? I'm sure I looked it up when I read this episode the first time. And I looked it up. I would have never known, and nobody would, because that is Adam Reed for you. But Joseph Force Crater disappeared August 6th, 1930. So it's a fresh reference. He was declared legally dead June 6th, 1939, and was an American lawyer who served as a New York State Supreme Court justice and mysteriously vanished shortly after the state began an investigation into corruption in New York City.
Well, he was killed by the mafia, but how does that relate to obviously the mob killed him. That's I solved the crime, solved the mystery. But what does that have to do with a half drunk glass of what?
Because she's looking to get a drink and the bartender's gone.
Oh,
and so that's how the Judge Crater. It's just like was he thinking about this and then had to make it work in this episode? Did he just need something to explain?
Google famous disappearances.
I think he just has that encyclopedic knowledge in his brain, and he's like, "Oh, this is a good one."
There's so many of those. I mean, I have no idea how many, but like I feel like there's a handful per season.
Constant, every per episode. I always think there's at least 2 or 3 like literary or like kind of like knowledgeable deep cuts in every episode, and especially remember the poem that ends up on when we find out that Pam's been fighting in fight clubs. That poem that ends up on her back that like everybody was like googling wildly and having like long Reddit threads about like for a year after that season. But it was great because it just felt like there was a real investment. Like everybody behind the scenes was like thought highly of its audience. Like we didn't have contempt for our viewers. We were like, we think you're as smart as we are, and we are not going to pander to you. We're going to give you
except for John. John hated our audiences.
Well, John hates everybody. Here's my favorite John's Benjamin story. I have like hundreds. I have a deep affection for John Benjamin, but one of my favorites is that in season 2, when we got to go to Comic-Con, we got to watch it with an audience, and none of us had ever seen the show with an audience before. And so you think it's funny at home, but you don't know. I mean, you're just thrilled to be on a television show. But then you go and then so many people showed up, right? It was a whole room was full of people. It wasn't even our biggest. At first it was pretty big, but it was still like the smallest one we ever had. And when they were playing the episode, and everyone's laughing so hard, and you just can't believe it. And it's so exciting to have that experience with people. And then Johnny Zephyr goes, well, I guess this show's pretty good.
So, John.
I'm like, have you never watched it? He's like, no, I haven't seen it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was great.
I also love that for whatever reason, it keeps coming back that nobody can run. You're not allowed to run on this ship. And people keep getting in trouble for running.
That poor guy.
It's never explained.
Yeah. Also, Archer's like deeply stupid in this episode. He just can't grok that helium isn't flammable, and he keeps slapping that poor guy with a cigar. And the guy never fights back. The guy's only resistance is to go.
That face to camera so
Every single time. He never protests or complains. He just takes it every time. He's like he's lost his 7th Cuban for this asshole. He can't recover. Oh, it's so funny.
So great.
It was this is such a premium episode of television. It was just like excellent in every way. As previously discussed, this is the unveiling of the new, true, and one ring to bind them all, Ray Gillette. Right, this is where we meet and his like peak Gillette performance, where he's running the diffusement of the bomb, and we have our
so good.
Infamous Emma's and Nancy moment.
And I actually wrote this down because I was like, I bet Aisha went to space camp when she was a kid. Did you go to space camp?
I didn't go to space camp, but I went to the Space Museum multiple times, and I was obsessed with space. Oh, absolutely. And I only read sci-fi. I was like sci-fi, and then way below that fantasy. But like sci-fi was my number one. Like read under the covers until I got in trouble. Absolutely. Just
and you had told
Bradbury
me.
and Heinlein.
one time that you, like when you were a kid, you had one of those Casio watches.
Oh yeah. There's a photo. I mean, no, oh, absolutely. I mean, when do you need to do some quick calculations on the fly?
Right.
I'm your woman. I'm your person.
Yeah. You never know as a kid, like an emergency should come up and you would need instant calculation.
Some sophisticated, math, not just like, because I do addition and subtraction in my head, but, maybe I need to do a little long division, but like when you start to get like the high multiples, I need to go.
I love that you're such a nerd.
I had the one that a little robot could pop off the watch and you could transform him.
Oh God, I'm so jealous.
It only worked once you took him
I'm
off.
I'm just sick with jealousy. I can't believe you told me that story.
Home.
I'm nauseous. Later season, I want to say 8, maybe earlier, we meet my parents, right? And we see baby Lana, and they model baby Lana off of a picture of me at the science fair with that actual calculator watch on.
Oh my
I'm very
God.
pleased. So that is literally, and then there's like a little picture of, like, you can see my actual science project. They just took it from a photo of me in my actual science project in the 8th grade. It's in that episode.
The voices of your parents were so great, and then there's a whole car chase.
It was David and
CCH Pounder, I believe.
Right.
And CCH Pounder, what? The star power. It was so great.
I can also tell you that one time Daniel Craig came to the studio in Atlanta. He was filming something.
I'm blocking your phone number because that fact that you didn't tell me this, why am I learning about this now? This is the end of our friendship.
Well, it gets better. He was such a fan of the show, and whenever somebody would come by, we had like a little tour that we would give them, and we would say like, okay, it starts with storyboards, and then it goes to this, and show him the path. And he gets to one part, and we're showing him like a finished background, and somebody's about to talk, and he goes, "Oh, that's Lana's parents' house." Like, he knew the show. It was fantastic.
Oh my God! I talk about a boner maker.
That's a boner maker.
Woo! That's amazing. Oh my God. I'm a big fan of that guy. That was exciting. That story, I'm going to dine out on that for a year. That is so awesome. How fun. That must have been so fun for you guys to find out that such cool people were fans of the show. Yeah. And a lot of them ended up in the show later, right?
Like Christian Slater.
Christian
He was a big
Slater.
fan. Yep.
And obviously Tony Bourdain, and and what the Welsh guy who's so lovely. Why can't I think of his
Matthew
name?
Rhys.
Oh, Matthew Rhys. He is so great. What a fun guy to hang out with.
So awesome.
I'm going to say right now the boner maker is going to be our first T-shirt, and that your cocktail company needs to make a boner maker.
I do. I need to make a boner maker. I need to make a boner maker. I want it, so you stand by right away. Oh my God! How can we go on after finding out that Daniel Craig is? I knew that was my parents' house. How can I continue? Okay.
You may never know.
What a great story. What a great story.
I just want to mention 2 more lines that I wrote down that are so great. I think Mallory says that your tits are bouncing around like you're at a rodeo, which happens all the time. I realize now that I watch back that Lana's tits are always bouncing around.
Always bouncing. I mean, just, I noticed this about, so we were talking about models for the characters in an earlier conversation, and the characters were obviously modeled on other people, but slowly morphed to look more and more like us, I think, over time. Although I will point out to the people on this call and to everybody in America and the world that the posters never looked like any of us. Never looked like the characters on the show, never looked like the people in real life. They push me way into Caucasian range every time they draw a poster. Lana looks super different than she does on the show in the posters. I could say that now. The show is over. But Lana, for some reason, in this episode, looked to be very much like Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. And I could not get it out of my head. I don't know why. I mean, this is back when she was just the girl from Suits. But she strikes more than a bit of a similarity in looks to Meghan. I don't know.
Casey can speak to this more, but I would say that as we got better at making the show, that's how the models would change a little bit, and like we would learn new animation, so we could maybe make it a little tighter too. So yeah,
I think like they got a life that like just we were imbuing them with life, so they started to look and feel more like us, right? I mean, obviously Slater looked just like Slater, but did you guys not notice that the posters never looked like the animation? Like Archer was a completely different person in those posters. Maybe Pam and Cyril. But I feel like Lana and Archer
There was a beloved artist
never really looked.
who would draw those posters for us. And
Yeah,
so-
the FX used the same guy every single time. So.
Beloved schmeloved, I'm sure you're a lovely person, but I'm sure you're fantastic in every way. Your family's friend love you. Everybody here loves you. But I found it dramatic. I'm not even complaining. It was just weird. It was just weird to me that they didn't look like the characters on the show, but more like a concept of the show. It was always kind of like an archetypal concept of the show and I guess it was because he wasn't our drawer, and he wasn't trying
like
to.
a specialized poster guy. He was very, very well respected by some people.
I'm sure he's a lovely person. I am not impugning his character in any way.
Another great thing is another great line was push it off. I don't know, push it off with your big ass hands. When Gillette just doesn't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, no, he just gave up.
Good.
I love the relationship that Ray and Lana had here. It felt
me too. It felt
very Drag Race.
Yeah, very just like hanging out with your gals.
Yeah, very boozy
So
brunch.
fun.
Have you very like what are Saturdays for? Have you seen the Saturdays video where the guy's drunk? Oh, it's great. Okay, I'm giving people homework. There's this video. It's like some guys, a very cute group of gay guys out for brunch, and one guy just keeps asking his friend, "What are Saturdays for?" The friend just keeps replying, "Saturday." I've seen it so many times now that like it has its own kind of value and meaning, but essentially the friend's so drunk he can't answer. He just keeps going, Saturday. That just reminds me of Ray. It just sassing back and forth. What is Saturdays for? Saturday. That was how I felt.
That's how it felt.
Yeah. Thing. Yeah,
So
just
good.
like their boozy brunch time, Give me another mimosa, bitch. It felt like that. Yeah, it's very cute, very sweet. I also loved Zip and Zipper Face. They were just there were just some classics. Some classics in there. Zip and Zipper Face.
When Lana says the captain's name when he reveals, and she's like, "Captain, whatever," and then Archer's like, "No,
Captain
please."
Lammers.
Captain Lammers.
That was for some
Nice
many
Velma.
smart jokes. I love it when it's just not afraid to be dumb.
Yes, not afraid to be absolutely idiotic. And then when they're pushing it off and we're gonna make it, and then Archer goes by, hooray for metaphor.
And you had mentioned that we used that one in the Archer Live. And
I loved it.
We had just a big fucking U-Haul box, I think.
Giant, and we were trying to fake that it was heavy. We were like, trying to push it off the stage. It was so ridiculous.
So fun.
It was
Those were
so
such
ridiculous.
fun times.
Those were great times.
They were.
I think they were like impossible to put on. Probably barely broke even.
Yeah.
They were just a victory tour for a bunch of drunk assholes. But they were.
It was so we could go to nice dinners all over the country.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was so great. It was so fun. This episode, I think, it was another perfect distillation of kind of like spycraft, nostalgia, pure like unadulterated like joke driven comedy. But then this was the beginning, I think, of like, and maybe it's earlier, but like it just started to get more and more nuanced, like the kind of the internecine politics and everybody like, bickering and sleeping together. Like, it was 6 and 7 where you just started to see the threads starting to like weave themselves together into this like really complex office comedy.
Totally. Oh, so much fun. Well, should we do some Casey trivia?
Oh my
All right,
God, I'm
Casey.
going to fail. I'm terrified.
But wait, going in, you already have 52 points.
So Amber,
What?
point of order.
How did we get those?
Are these being added to Aisha's points, or are you averaging them out?
She's gotten 52 points just in this episode.
Okay.
Yeah, just from being on this episode.
If you do more episodes, you can rank up more points, is what you're saying.
No, it starts over from the beginning every time.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fair.
Amazing.
I'm hoping that I'm getting points every time I drop a bad word because I've been really prolific today.
You are absolutely.
No breakfast making me cursey.
The name of the rigid airship is the Excelsior. Excelsior is also the state motto for which state?
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say what other things are called Excelsior. What is the meaning of Excelsior? Both of which I have an answer for.
Yeah.
But what state? Well, so Excelsior means ever upwards.
Wow, didn't know this.
And Excelsior is also what you call that shredded up paper that you shove, or wood chippings that you shove into like a box when you want to pack something and keep it from breaking.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, wow.
So the third answer is some state with mountains. I'm going to say Colorado.
New York State.
Oh, mother, father.
I would not have guessed that.
All right,
Nope.
this next question.
I don't really think they're embodying that motto very.
This next question is more in the Adam Reed, Matt Thompson lore.
Oh.
So the serial number on the bomb is 934TXS. 934 Texas. It's used in Sealab. It's used in Frisky Diggo and used in Archer. Do you know what the reference 934 Texas is?
Oh, I don't.
Excellent. Lacey, are you allowed to give the actual...
Oh my God! I was gonna pitch something because Matt went to UT Austin, and that is in Texas.
Right.
And so one time at a Texas football game, he drank 934 beers.
Totally
Must be right.
Totally plausible.
You know what? Christian just said, am I allowed to divulge the information? And because of that, now I'm worried. I'm going to say that is correct.
Uh-oh.
I'll give you the other answer off air.
Wait, yeah.
I
We
was
don't want
gonna
to give away
guess
any
that it
personal
was-
information.
The area code. Is it an area code? It's not an area code.
It's not an area code.
You should say it.
It's
We can bleep it out if you can't use it.
correct me if I'm wrong. It is the code they would send to the beeper of their weed dealer in New York when they lived in New York.
Ooh.
That is so
That's
funny.
awesome. Well, you can say it now because marijuana is legal in almost
Right.
all
Yes.
But
states.
back then, man, that was
have-
like
yeah.
25 years ago. You could get door delivery from this guy.
That was DoorDash.
The amazing thing about drug dealers is they've always done door delivery.
Yep.
It's included in the price.
We can re-record it and say that it was their peanut butter dealer that they would
Oh,
text
yeah,
that to.
right.
Marijuana is legal. Marijuana is legal in the state of New York and the state of California and many other states. And you grannies
Still
out
not
there,
here. I know.
you should smoke some for your glaucoma.
In this episode, there's a really famous line, M as in Mancy. And that's related to the NATO phonetic alphabet. What is M in the NATO phonetic alphabet?
Montana.
It is not Montana. It's Mike.
That's dumb. Montana would be better.
How about, I'll give you an easy one. How about B?
Bravo,
correct. E.
Ooh, eagle.
Echo.
Damn it.
And then this one's crazy. Q.
Ooh.
Quixotic.
I like that better. Quebec. Quebec.
Oh.
See, that's why I went for like Montana, because sometimes it's a state
Right.
and sometimes it's an abstract concept. So obviously, what we proved here is that this stupid alphabet, it makes no sense.
Just some
Exactly.
dude made it up.
That's what Archer was trying to say the whole time.
Whenever I try to make like a plane, like I'm talking to like an airline, and you have to kind of like read out your record locator, I just make them up. I'm
Right.
like Q as in quixotic, A as in avocado,
Yeah.
V as in. I always say V as in Victor because obviously it's Victor. That we all know that it's Victor. But
It is
for
Victor.
that round, you have 87 points. Aisha.
Wow.
I
very
did
good.
very well. I
did
did
very
very
good.
well on this one. That was exciting. It's because I used some long words.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you got 70 points for that Matt Thompson drinking that many beers reference. So you got a lot of points for that.
I mean, to be fair, he did it over several hours. You know,
Right.
it wasn't like all at once. It took
course.
the whole afternoon. It took the whole afternoon. It took the whole day.
Yeah.
But yeah. Come on. This is the lore. We got to put the lore out there.
Right. We got to.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to tell us about before we end the episode?
I do. You can see me. You can see me very, very soon. Or right. When is this posting?
Probably at the end of the month.
Okay, great. So starting May 8th, you can see me on Criminal Minds Evolution on Paramount Plus. And I directed the second episode of the season, so check out. It's pretty great. And I voice Lena Luthor on this season of Harley Quinn. And I have a cocktail company, and it's rad, and it just launched. We're only 8 months old now. It's called Losophy, pronounced like philosophy, Losophe. If you go to losophy.com, we will send you margaritas to your house, and use the discount code Organico20. That's organic with an O on the end, and then a 2, and then a 0 after that. Organico20. We'll send you margaritas for 20% off. We also have some really cool T-shirts on there that say "Sex is cool, but have you had a margarita?" And
Nice.
I feel like the abiding soul and sentiment of my cocktail company would fit in very well in Archer World, because I make cocktails that you could keep in your office and then just pour them out into a glass whenever you like, with very little effort. I didn't cure cancer, but I feel like I solved a really critical problem for a lot of people.
People might not know this, but like when I think of you, one of the first things that comes to mind is that you know your cocktails. Like you know your cocktails, you know how to drink good cocktails. I learned about the Negroni because of you. So like you are a cocktail connoisseur. So I can only imagine that they are incredibly good cocktails, and I can't wait to order some of them.
I'm so grateful that you said that you're a cocktail connoisseur and not that you like to drink, although both things are true. but I am a quality over quantity person, right? Like I like a great drink over 5 shitty ones. And I made something that is completely organic. Organic tequila. We make our triple sec with organic tequila, so there's nothing in there but 100% Blue Weber agave tequila and organic lime. It's so tasty. And it's about to be summertime, and what you deserve is less time juicing limes and more time sitting on them dimes. Oh man,
That's your next T-shirt.
That's how I drink my margarita. A couple of times.
A couple of times.
Amazing.
Bring the dimes to your house, guys. Right to your house.
Awesome.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aisha. It's so lovely to see you. I miss you so much.
You too. I miss you. It's so nice. I hug your little face inside the box. It's lovely to see you guys. This was very, very enjoyable. And listen, I'm going to put a very fine point on it. This is one of the greatest animated shows ever made. I'm not saying it because I'm on it. I'm saying because it's true. And it's nice to be revisiting it, because I do know that people are still discovering it all the time and watching it from the beginning. And it is the kind of show that you can enjoy over and over again without getting bored. And I'm just so proud of it, and proud of all the work that everybody on this call has done, and also other people that are not on this call. It's a special thing, and I've been thrilled to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. You're
Thank
so
you.
lovely. This has been Rephrasing, an Archer Rewatch podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at RePhrasingPod. Email us questions at rephrasingpod@gmail.com. Please, no pictures of your penis. That's just inviting pictures of their penis, isn't it? Rephrasing is produced by Amber Nash, Casey Willis, and Christian Danley. Our theme song is by Matt Hobbs. I'd like to say a special thank you to Raymond Carr, Jasmine Nash, and Jonathan Strickland. And don't forget, FX's Archer is now streaming on Hulu.